I'm Gustavo Castillo. I'm a rising junior studying mechanical engineering, and I'm part of the Intercultural Facilitator program. Just a little bit about myself. I have an interest in sustainability, and when I think about where I developed that interest, I always get back to the same place. I always remember my parents and how they insisted on me being clean. Not that I was a dirty person, but they always insisted that I needed to make my bed within 5 minutes of waking up, and that I had to clean my room, pick up the clothes off the ground. And 20 years later, I'm still just as bad at doing it, but the values that they taught me extended beyond my home. I not only wanted to see my room in order, but I also wanted to see a clean world around me. And that's what led me to study engineering.
My name is Cheyenne Tate. I'm a junior psychology major. A little bit about myself. I'm from the small town of Walnut, California. For those of you who don't know where Walnut is, it's about 45 minutes away from Loyola Marymount. I grew up in a God-fearing family of 2 jealous older sisters. For those of you who are the babies of the family, you know what I mean. And 2 very loving parents. But growing up, I realized that I didn't get out very much. But now that I finally got out of that small town and attend a private university on this beautiful campus in Los Angeles, California, also known as the entertainment capital of the world, I still don't get out very much. And that's okay. I was a nerd in high school, and I'm a nerd now. But what I found is that through my eagerness to learn, I've actually increased my curiosity for other cultures. It's allowed me to understand the diverse perspectives of different communities while deepening the understanding of who I am and how my ethnicity forms my identity. I want to leave you with 2 quotes. Galatians 6:9 says, "Do not grow weary of doing good, for in due time we will reap if we do not give up." And Bill Gates once said, "Be nice to nerds, because chances are you'll end up working for them one day." I love that this campus is so diverse, but it's kind of like going to a university with the largest library. You don't go in and read, it's of no use to you. So the Intercultural Facilitator program gives you the opportunity to do that.
What connects us is all our passion for social justice, and that drives us to engage in relevant cultural discussions. They're peer facilitated, and I think the most important part of it is that we provide an opportunity for everyone's voice to be heard. So we're not there to teach someone anything. We just want to promote people discussing, to find the answers amongst themselves, to learn things about themselves and about each other.
So why did you get involved with the Intercultural Facilitator program?
I think it was the first week of school. I was still looking for jobs. I hadn't found anything. And a friend that lived on my floor, Ian, he was in IF at the time, and I think he had already done the training. And he just told me that they were hiring IFs and to just come to the office and talk to Henry. Cool. I walked in hoping for a job and walked out with something more than that. And I've been here since 2 years now, still doing the same thing.
Nice.
What motivated you to get involved with the Intercultural Facilitator program?
So I actually heard about Henry's class through a friend, and I was really interested in taking it. So I went in and I loved it. I fell in love with the class, and then I went to the summit, the 3-day summit, and it was really interesting. And after the summit, Henry came up to me and was like, "I want you to be an intercultural facilitator." And I said, "Okay, let's do it."
Nice. Being a part of the IF program, being a facilitator, we're not really expected to teach anyone anything. And because of that, you're expected more to listen, to be able to find the answers, cut away the unimportant stuff. So my listening skills have greatly improved. The IF program has made me better at communicating, and communicating involves public speaking.
I'm so scared of public speaking, and it never gets any easier, but I've definitely become way more comfortable with myself. Once I get out there, it's like I'm a whole nother person, and I love it. It's like I'm connecting with the crowd, and it's really helped me just get out of my skin. One of my biggest challenges was definitely taking away the nerves and getting out of my own skin and being comfortable talking to the audience.
I think, well, for sure, it's challenging to go up in front of groups and talk. So I've greatly improved in that. I think, yeah, the biggest challenge is being able to connect with people, being able to facilitate in a way where they can take something away from that.
My most memorable moment was probably maybe my third facilitation and freshman orientation and being so nervous, but I remember just going up there, saying my story of self or personal narrative, and they loved it. Like, they were laughing and I was laughing, and it was just a really great moment that I connected with the audience, because that's what I aspire to do.
One of my most memorable moments also has to do with the story of self. Henry always wants us to say a little bit about ourselves before starting a discussion to be able to connect with the audience. And I've always been a little bit hesitant because I sometimes didn't think my story was really relevant to what we were talking about. But I remember I said my story of self once. It was about my struggles with race in my childhood. And at the end of the facilitation, someone came up to me because they had really connected with it and they had that same story.
Gus, what was your experience with the class?
First semester, I really liked Brandy's Donuts,
Nice.
which carried into second semester.
Definitely.
I came from a high school where we discussed everything, so we would always use the Socratic method. I never really liked it, because it was related to philosophy, but I really thought it was a neat opportunity for everyone to just come together and talk about, I think the question was one day, it's like, all right, what do you guys want to talk about? And someone brought something up, and then we just went from there, and for 2 hours we just discussed something random, but it was interesting, everyone was engaged, so I think that was a very good experience. The retreat was very nice. That was a good opportunity to really get deep into uncomfortable conversation.
Yes.
And it got uncomfortable.
Oh, very uncomfortable.
That was really neat. And second semester, just the same thing, kept discussing, and that's when we did the summit, and it was just, I was really impressed by how much the students knew about diversity, especially me coming into college. I didn't know it anywhere near as much as they did in high school, so I was really impressed by that. How about you? What's your experience?
Well, what shocked me was just the openness of everyone in the class. I really liked how we just kind of picked a topic and we would talk about relevant things that happen on campus. Like Henry would ask, what are some current events that are going on? And I just had no idea about things that, were seemingly racist that were going on our own campus that we weren't even aware about. Or yet, if we were aware about it, we weren't taking action. So I think that kind of inspired me to take action, even if I'm speaking up for something that is wrong. Second semester was a little bit more interesting. I didn't plan on actually participating in the summit, being an intercultural facilitator. But it was really fun. I liked the high school students. They were really great. They were funny. We really connected, and I just liked their enthusiasm.
Also, another thing about the class that I liked, that I agreed with, I just remember after every time leaving the class, you just always said you felt good.
Yeah, you're right. You feel you could take on the world. Okay, I got Henry behind me, I got this.
You always had good vibes, and I like that.
For sure. I took Intro to African American Studies course, and it was required for core.
Prior to this, no. The intercultural practicum class was my first, but I just found it really interesting. I had an interest in diversity and culture back from 9th grade. I lived in Mexico for 6 months, and that really woke up my interest in my own culture, other people's cultures. But here in university is really where I started diving into other people's cultures, and that all started with the intercultural practicum class.
As a doctor, I have to be able to understand diversity in order to connect with my patients.
As an engineer, I don't really think you need many social skills, but I think it's important whenever you work with people to be able to connect with them and be able to include diversity in your workplace.